Welcome back, everyone, to another epic season of the Blappy StarCraft League. This is your premier BSL talk show, BSL Talk. I am one of your two hosts, excuse me, Connor Kronbrom Fridline. I'm joined, as always, by Nick Zelly. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm pumped for season 2.
That's what I like to hear. This week, we're joined by a couple of special guests. They decided to just kind of come on the show without even asking, so here they are. First up, we got Steven Albert Whiskers Anderson. What's up, Steve? How are you?
I'm doing good.
Thanks for that. And then we got Rory Workaday Mango Haas. Rory, how are you today?
Howdy, doing great.
Excellent. Before we get started with the show, as always, we want to thank our two sponsors, Discord and Crystal Fieldhouse. If you're in the Flint area and you want to go ice skating, check out Crystal Fieldhouse. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, with that, we will get started. The first thing we're going to talk about this week, because it's kind of a preseason show, we're going to go over a little bit of the format. It's very similar to Season 1, so if you're with us for Season 1 of the BSL, this will look familiar. We've got a double round robin, best of 2, with a point system. So basically what that means is if you win your best of 2, 2-0, you get 3 points. If you draw 1-1, you get 1 point. And if you lose 0-2, you get 0 points. Those points are obviously tallied up, and that's how we determine standings. And then the standings are used for playoff seeding at the end of the regular season. Do you guys, I know we didn't get really far into the league last thing, but did you guys like the best of 2 point system we had last season?
Yeah, I did. I think just because of the short nature of season 1, sometimes some people might feel like they lost 2 games when, a 2-0 might not be indicative of their skill. But I just think because of the volume of games we're going to play, that I think that's going to fade away as we get through a complete season.
Okay, that's fair. And then so you can see our schedule. We start September 18th, and then the grand finals will be either November 25th or 26th. We've got 6 weeks of regular season, and then they are split up by a BSL Team League tournament, which we will talk more about on our Week 3 show. We'll kind of give you guys a rundown of how that's going to work. Each player plays 2 best of 2s a week, with the exception of Week 3 and Week 6, which are makeup weeks. This is something new we added this season because a lot of us have scheduling conflicts during the week and we can't necessarily play. So for extenuating circumstances, we have 2 makeup weeks where basically if you haven't played a match that took place before the makeup week or during the makeup week, it's your last chance to play it. If you don't play the match by the end of the makeup week, that match is considered a forfeit, and you actually lose points if you forfeit. So a forfeit loss is actually -1 points in the standings. Do you guys? This is just kind of something new. It's because last season we had a big problem with people like not being able to play due to school or work or whatever, and this just kind of gives you like, okay, this is the week you have to play it by it if all else fails, and if you don't, there is actually a penalty, because we had people last season that were just like, okay, I'll just forfeit, I don't really want to play. So Steven, what are your thoughts on the makeup week / forfeit rules we've got this season?
I think it's incredibly helpful.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay.
I might need to take advantage of it.
Of the makeup week or weeks?
Do we know, everyone is going to be able to play it this time?
That's the idea. I know we ended season 1 because we had a lot of scheduling conflicts and people weren't able to play. And we said, okay, we'll wait like a month. That way everybody who's at school can get settled in, get all their stuff taken care of. And that way people kind of get on a more of a regular schedule and can kind of carve out some time during their week or during their weekend to play. Because really how long does a best of 2 last? Like 20 minutes to a half an hour, and you're playing 2 of them. Like I think.
Yeah, true. Depends.
All 6...
It could be like 9 minutes.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, definitely could be shorter, right, Steve? Some are shorter.
It could be 40. Roy and I played a 22-minute game.
Yeah, but that's a PVT. And Rory plays like the most passive person I've ever played in RTS against in my entire life. So.
Who is?
You.
It's totally false.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't. Earlier you got mad that Phil called him passive. So
It's just this
Oh,
weird thing where
is that Rory's trigger?
people
Is that Rory's
lose and then
trigger?
they default to, well, you play passive. Well, I don't know how I play it. I just know that my screen said I won after.
That's fair. That's fair. And then the last little format thing, we've got the playoff schedule. Obviously, the week 1 is the quarterfinals, week 2 semifinals, week 3 grand finals. We are going to have playoff reseeding after the first round. Just that's something we'll talk about a little bit more when it gets closer. But that just is to dissuade people from intentionally like throwing games at the end of the season so they can get specific matchups based on seeding. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when it gets closer to the playoffs. But next we can go ahead and talk about the competitors for this season. If you'll notice, they're very similar to season 1, with the exception of one of our players has decided to finally choose a race instead of playing as random every game. So that's a big step for him. So our Terran players, returning from last season, we got Albert Whiskers, and then Albino Rhino has chosen to go from random, and he has landed in Terran. So we'll see how that goes. How are you guys, Steven? How are you feeling about your Terran play recently?
You mean like my ability?
Yeah, like your ability as a Terran player. How are you feeling?
Oh, I suck.
Okay.
I just I have, but it's not because I'm bad at Terran. I mean, I'm exceptionally bad at Terran because of it, but I am bad at the game itself. Like, I will supply block myself by like the 5-minute mark sometimes, like one every like 50% of the games, and then that will put me back on like an early attack, and then by that time Zerg will just have a whole Mutalisk army up. It's like, well, I got 2 vultures. And then it's like, well, okay, well. And then the other thing is I just have a real problem making my natural operational. I don't know what it is. I really need to work on it. Like, I'm not even talking getting a third up and running. Granted, Terran doesn't need to do that too soon, but like,
Right.
I don't know. It's just, yeah, I don't know. So I've been playing like online, and I literally only beat people who have 1 arm.
Okay. So their APM is pretty close to Rory's APM then. Is that what you're saying?
Actually half.
Oh, half. Well, Rory's got some. Well, like a normal person's APM is like 100. Rory sits right around 60 or 70.
70.
Yeah.
70, yeah.
So I think the one-armed person is probably right around 50 or 60.
hey, if you make
Actually, the guy I beat that was like a tussle, he was 41.
You struggled with someone who was playing at 41 APM.
Yeah, he was comfy campaign mode, and I defaulted to my really bad StarCraft 2 play, which is Turtle Terran and then just going straight nukes. So.
Wow. Okay. So what is your best matchup and what is your worst matchup?
In terms of race?
Yeah.
Ironically, even though I've been practicing solely against Zerg, I think my best matchup is against Protoss.
Okay.
Just because I feel more comfortable to move within that kind of gameplay, because it's like Protoss will put out 5 units and push, right? And then it's like, okay, get some mines down, get a tank or 2 up, and then when Protoss loses 2 of those units or 3, they need to fall back, or it actually feels like it's worth something. It's like, okay, I bought myself some time, or oh, now I can push. With Zerg, it's like, oh, I killed their 6 Zerglings, which was their early attack. That doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You know? So it's like, and then Zergs just get those expansions up, so it's like you as a Terran player have to apply that pressure, like, just as early almost as they do to you, or else. So it's kind of like, it's a pressure game with Zerg versus Terran, and it's just not as good for me.
So your ZVT is your worst matchup?
Probably, yeah. I was gonna say I'm actually really bad in TVT. I think TVT is my worst matchup, just because I don't know what to do offensively against another Terran who has siege tanks when I have siege tanks, because it's just like by the time you get up in siege, you're dead.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it's just like so
That
it's like
is
you gotta
that
go.
is kind of that's kind of a funky matchup. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like they'll go like Marines and tanks, and then you're just like I don't know what to do against this. It's like your raids will get killed by the Marines, and then your tanks will get killed by the tank. Yeah, so.
All right, so those are our two Terran players. We got one Protoss player, the lone wolf Protoss player, Workaday Mango. Rory, how are you feeling about your Protoss play? And then I'll ask you the same thing. What do you think your best matchup and your worst matchup are in terms of race matchups?
Real quick, just checking in. You can hear me right now?
Yeah, you're kind of faint, but we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, strange. My connection. I was trying to listen to Steven's answer, and it was faint to say the least. So hopefully, I don't drop out of this. Were you asking me what matchup I'm most confident about?
Yeah, what's your best and your worst matchup?
I would say my best matchup is the Rory Connor matchup. I'm pretty successful this far in that one. Worst
Okay.
matchup. I don't know if I've lost yet, but no. I think I'm most confident playing Zergs. I think just from even the short couple of games we had in season 1, it was just the fact that I'm the only Protoss. I'm the only exposure to Protoss the Zerg players get. The Zerg players give me, 3 of them, a ton of exposure to playing them. So that's an innate advantage. I think I need to put in a lot more time practicing, just because I think Protoss probably gives you the biggest crutches out of the 3 races when it comes to your macro. As in, a single probe can plop down 4 buildings and then go do whatever the hell it wants.
Right.
So I think those crutches combined with the fact I think I'm just pretty good at RTSs have kind of led me to be successful thus far. And I feel like Season 2 could probably go a lot differently if I don't actually get good at Protoss as opposed to just being good at RTSs.
Okay.
So, I kind of went off that little tangent, but I think it just had to do with me thinking about the exposures I get to Zerg, making them my best matchup, and I just don't have that many games to talk about. I think Terran is probably my worst matchup. I guess I don't know if I could talk about some of the PvPs I've played online, because I don't know if those are technically relevant here for me,
Yeah, you really don't have to worry about any PvPs, luckily for you.
Which is like big in and of itself for just the standings in our league.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess of the 2 options I have, I'd say Zerg's the best, Terran's the worst.
Okay, and then we've got, as you can see, 3 Zerg players. All 3 of our Zerg players from last season are returning. I got myself.
I just wanna throw in real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if I can do this, but
you can't, but go ahead anyway.
As Roy bring the Protoss, because it's like such a comfy race, and he can just like sit back and rely on his RTS skill, I think that gives him the soonest availability to just practice mind games more than anyone else, because it's not like he has to practice unit micro. Like, I have to micro vultures. I have to learn how to like hotkey my tanks to get them up at the right time before the battle starts, before the Hydras and the Lings run in, or like the Zelds get dropped on me. But like he can just attack move, for like battle stakes and retreat. So that gives him time while we're practicing micro to practice. How do I?
Mind games.
So
yeah, that's probably true. Okay, Nick, I'm gonna ask you first, and then I'll go. How are you feeling about your Zerg play? And
I think it's.
What are your matchups?
I think it's close to perfection. Honestly, I don't think I have any weaknesses at all. No one's gave me a reason to believe so. Actually, no. The worst matchup, I'll start with that, is ZVZ. It's cancer. It's the worst thing ever. I hate it. I probably will just forfeit all my matches. Sorry, ZVZs.
Okay, yeah, no, good. It's a good thing that there's 2 other Zerg players in the league then.
Yeah, no. But I don't know. I think, I'm doing okay. I think my ZVT is pretty solid.
Yeah, you did have, I think, the fastest recorded game time in BSL history last season. And it was a
you're
ZVT.
right.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think what I need to improve.
You're also playing against someone with one arm, though. So,
Yeah,
to be fair, it's not like you were good.
yeah. So, I don't know. I think the most important thing I need to improve is just game knowledge. I really don't know what's happening after 10 minutes in the game, but the first 10 minutes, it's perfection almost, So.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
I like the confidence. It's funny that you say ZVZ is your worst matchup because I actually love ZVZ. I think ZVZ is my best matchup. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it with a passion, and I don't enjoy playing them, but I still think it's my best matchup.
I don't know. It's just it's so mind gamey.
I hate ZVP. Like I've been playing a lot of my my ranked online matches. I'm in ZVPs.
Why do you hate ZVPs?
I hate ZVP just because I feel like I can't do anything. I feel like Zealots are the most overpowered unit in the game for the first 15 minutes, and my Zerglings are
You don't go Hydras, do you?
well, I'm not gonna disclose my strategies right now when I play Rory the first week of the season. Sorry, but maybe we can talk about it next week after the matches have happened.
Zergs just have such an advantage on Protoss early. In all the games I've watched, and it's I guess the meta for the game, the way it works on the simplified level is a triangle, and it is simplified, but it's Protoss beats Terran, Terran beats Zerg, Zerg beats Protoss, and the reason that is it's saying your tier 1 units. What?
Are you talking about just the early game?
So what that means is your tier 1 units, what beats what. So Terran's tier 1 units, Medic, Marine, Firebat, will always beat Zerg's tier 1 units, Hydra's Zerglings.
Mm-hmm.
Protoss's tier 1 units, Zealot Dragoon, will always beat Terran's tier 1, Marine, Medic. Zerg's tier 1, Hydra Lings, will beat Protoss's tier 1, Zealot's Dragoons. So it's basically that forces the other player who gets beat to have to jump to tier 2 to try to beat the other person. And it's so that's where Protoss against Zerg needs to try to get to Reaver or DT, and then Terran against Protoss needs to get to Mech as fast as it can, and then Zerg against Terran needs to get to Mutalisks and Lurkers.
I actually really like the way you put that. That makes everything you were saying there made a lot of sense to me. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that, Steve. But no, I just don't. I mean, maybe I've just been getting really unlucky. I've been playing some really good Protosses, but I just feel and it's probably also has to do with the fact that I'm not good enough build order wise yet, because I haven't been doing enough ZVP build order stuff to get my timings down to where I have enough units to do enough damage to the Protoss early, and then they just end up counterattacking me, and I don't have anything to defend myself with, and I lose. That's the main reason. ZVT I can handle. ZVZ I actually am pretty decent at, but ZVP for whatever reason it's not working out for me. So okay, and then so you can look at the right of this page. You can see our map pool for this season. We got 6 maps: Circuit Breaker, Fighting Spirit, Tau Cross, Destination, Neo Jade, and Outsider. I think 4 of these are current ladder maps. I think Circuit Breaker, Fighting Spirit, Destination, and Outsider are all ladder maps that you can play on the ladder. Basically, the way the map pool works is each week has its own starting map, which means every best of 2 match, the first game is on that map, and then the second game, the loser of the first game gets to choose the map. It can be the same map or it can be one of the other 5 maps. It's completely up to them, but the first map does have to be the weekly selected map. So after that, we can go ahead and jump into our first power rankings of season 2. I know this is always a lot of fun to do. So who wants to get this started with some power rankings?
I'll do it.
Okay, go ahead. Throw out a name and we'll go from there.
Okay, so number 1, Rory.
Okay, thoughts? I
Number,
agree. I agree with you. No, don't do all 6 of yours. We'll go one at a time.
Right. I stopped.
Okay. I agree with Rory at number 1. Rory, I'm gonna go ahead and just not let you participate in this discussion for the sake of biasness. Is that okay?
I think Rory's number 1 too.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement. Rory number 1. I think just based off of the body of work we have and the information we have available, based off of last season, I think it's pretty easy to put Rory at number 1.
I think.
Well, too bad.
I think it's Rory's RTS skill with the combination of Protost's comfiness, which is why Rory said earlier he has to practice to keep that up.
Yeah, but I think for the start of the season, I think putting Rory at number 1 is a pretty reasonable ranking.
No, I'm agreeing.
Okay. Do we want to go ahead and put Phil at 6?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's just kind of the thing we have to do.
Honestly, I want to see him shoot up.
I
want to see him.
We said this last season. He has enough base RTS skill to where he has the ability to shoot up if he puts in the time to learn the game. Will he do that? We will see.
Yeah.
But
I'm actually sort of like the foil of Phil. Phil is like good RTS skill, zero knowledge of StarCraft. I am like huge knowledge of StarCraft, zero RTS skill. So my fall will be quick if I don't practice.
Yeah, probably. That's actually kind of interesting you put it that way. I don't think you have zero RTS skill. I think you have like not as much RTS skill as like Phil and Rory or Nick, but
pretty bad.
I still think you have.
I don't know. Some games I'll just be like on point, but that's like 1 out of every like 8 of my games.
That's a pretty that's a pretty good percentage if you're.
Did you grow up playing any RTSs?
Just StarCraft.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
All right. Who wants to throw out a name? We got Albert Whiskers, Zelly, Gazrit, and Cronbaum. Roy, why don't you throw out a name since you're already on the list? No, let Rory do it.
Cronbaum.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm out. What do you? I'm not gonna talk about myself. So go ahead and.
I think Connor has put in the most practice to the game, and I think with that practice, it's not just like build orders, but he's got like the most online experience. Whereas it's like I've only lost a few ways, and I can't even like overcome those. Connor, I feel like Connor's lost a bunch online and like knows what to do. So I'm kind of like worried, like when Connor, when you said, "Oh yeah, I got ZBT down," I'm like, well, I don't have TBZ down. So it's like, I think like you're able to know me more than I know you to one extent. I mean, I guess I do know you, but I just can't beat you yet in terms of I just have such a hard time with Mutilus because like my Marine medic play is just like it's so hard to micro because you have to have Marines only with Marines to be able to use the stim ability, right. Which means that your Marines and medics have to be in separate hotkey groups. So if you're trying to move out with 20 Marines, that's like one group of 12, one group of 8, and then a third group of medics. And then you have to hope they don't piss line when they're walking to the other side of the map. And then just like that off chance that it always happens with every Zerg player, they fly to the edge of the map and then come down. So then your armies completely miss each other. It's like you better hope that you have your turrets up in time. And then it's just like really, really stressful. And I was watching this YouTube video of this Korean guy showing how to like do a Terran build, and it's just he's talking in Korean. It's got subtitles, and the Mutalists are just like going at his base, and he's just like super calm. He's like, "Oh, chu 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 chu," and then the subtitles are like, "Don't worry, it's like it's fine. Just don't get stressed. That's the important thing. Keep your macro up." I'm just like, okay, well, doesn't work. So I think Connor's 2 just from practice alone. I will say that I think no, I don't want to say. I'm gonna leave it there.
All right, Nick and Rory, thoughts?
I think Connor can comfortably beat anyone but Rory. So that's at Sadie's number 2. I want to see the week 1 matchup before I like decide between those two. But yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, so we got 3 left. We got Albert Whiskers, Zelly, and Gazrit. Do you want to go ahead and put Gazrit at 5? I don't know. No, I don't think anybody's seen him play this game.
I literally have not seen him play once. So
just from lack of experience. And like honestly, here's the thing. Like he's probably played the 3rd most StarCraft compared to like me, Rory, and him. Ironically, he was the best at StarCraft 2 out of any of us.
Mm-hmm.
But just he thinks he knows more than he knows. Like he literally, when we were playing, did
shots
not.
fired, Garrett.
I think he honestly played StarCraft. I think he was like me and Rory. Like he played StarCraft 2 multiplayer and not Brood War, so he didn't know about Defilers. Just because he forgot. It's been like 7-8 years.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's true.
And he only played it in the campaign. And do you really use Defilers in the campaign?
No,
you know.
Not really.
So, like to be fair, like he's relying off of his StarCraft knowledge, which isn't all there. So I think he's going to think he doesn't have to do his homework. But it's like I thought I had a ton of knowledge, but I still had to do it because I've been watching vid reps like here and there. So It's like I have a game sense, but so yeah, I think he'll have to take the initiative to do his homework and actually practice build orders, and I think he won't do that until he starts to realize like, oh, I went 0-4 this week.
That's probably pretty fair. So I think putting him at 5 is probably a fair place. Okay, we got Albert Whiskers and Zelly left. Workaday Mango, Rory, what are your thoughts? We got the number 3 spot and the number 4 spot. Who goes where? Rory.
I mean, I'll throw in my thoughts.
Well, hold on.
I love this. I love this already.
What do you got? What are your thoughts, Rory?
Should we set the scene?
Yeah, set the scene.
Okay. So, I don't remember what day it was, but I was there. Oh, I was there.
Here we go.
The vaunted Zelly Albert Whiskers matchup.
Can we put the picture up in the?
Yeah, throw my meme up.
All right, hold on. Yeah, hold on. I'll do it while you're talking.
All right, I'll just cut the bullshit. I think it took a cumulative 6 minutes for Nick to 2-0 Steven.
It was not 6 minutes.
How long was it?
It was under 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
I fucked that up. Okay, but yes, so super quick games. One player left liking their record. One player didn't. And for a particular reason, it was because he said that they weren't. What did you say? Like they weren't legit
honorable.
Games or something?
Honorable.
They weren't
There was no honor.
because he felt that he had.
I didn't say they weren't legit games. I just said you should
That's why I said I didn't know what the word was and I was searching for it. Yeah. All right, we're here though. I remember no honor was being spammed in Discord. But the crux of the argument was that Steven's actual skill at StarCraft never got to be brought to bear because of the nature of these early losses. Had to deal with.
Well, you have to put it. Make sure you mention that the early losses were basically caused by the fact that Steven thought he knew how to wall but didn't,
Yes.
and then Nick just 6 Zerg rushed him and killed him twice.
I 9-pooled both games.
Yeah, Nick 9-pooled both games, had 6 slings, got into Steven's base because he couldn't wall, and Steven also used the excuse that walling in StarCraft 2 is way easier than walling in StarCraft 1, which I think everyone, I mean, that's like a pretty obvious statement. But then he said that Nick, and he asked Nick to play one of the games over because he felt like the victories were without honor, and
Mhm.
thus started the great.
And yeah, I mentioned that earlier. It has to do with the
Yeah.
fact that on paper you got 2-0'd, and you can walk away feeling like, you know.
I
you
was
lost
I
due
was confused about that though, because what makes you think you'd be able to wall correctly in the third game? Like honestly, no. I'm the honest question. Like if we played again, the same thing would have happened. Like
Yeah, the same thing would have happened.
we would have seriously. We would have just if you wanted to like we'd have to like reschedule for another day for you to work on it or something. I don't know. But I'm serious. It would have been like the same result. So I don't know.
I'm not salty anymore. I needed it to shoot me into the realization
All right, so
of how hard it is to wall. Because I looked up the guide, and there are actually maps that are not wallable. And I'm a little salty about that just based off of the map choices, but we'll get to that later.
All right, so Roy, what are your thoughts? Who's 3? Who's 4?
I don't like this.
You're not supposed to like it. It's supposed to be difficult. You're ranking
Yeah, why
people.
am I in charge of doing this?
Well, because do you want me to do you want me to throw out one, and then you can see if you agree or disagree? Because I don't want them to like throw out their name and then like.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay,
get
so
that.
I think Steven's 3 and Nick's 4.
I was gonna say yes, just because of the nature of you and Nick's ZVZs.
That's fair.
So
That's fair. I also think
nature of
Nick
those
hasn't practiced at all since last season.
that too. The nation is the practices and it was the fact that I watched your guys' games and it seems like I don't know if you mentioned it ironically or not. You're talking about those first 10 minutes are flawless, and then it seemed like when you were playing Connor, after those first 10 minutes kind of went by, it kind of went a little bit rails every ticking minute. It just seemed like it was shifting towards Connor. He always had the bigger army. He's always had the bigger economy, this and that. But so I'm thinking, Stephen v. Nick. I guess this isn't technically a Stephen v. Nick. It's just a ranking, right?
Right. It's power rankings based on
That's
yes.
true.
Yeah.
I
I think 1v1 probably Nick has the advantage, but I think as an overall ranking, I think Steven is the better overall
I think
player.
it's Steven just because he's got and I think, like I said, the body, it took 2 pretty demoralizing losses, and I'm assuming some YouTube research, some good web watching to know that, walling is not exactly a foolproof tactic in this game, that he's going to be a lot more prepared in the early game. Like, I don't see him making a wall and then being, okay, I can just throw out a Marine and then I can just macro. I see him being a much more active early game person after being, scarred by these kind of losses.
I agree. It's probably a wake-up call, and I think Steven even admitted to it being a wake-up call.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So okay, so here are the power rankings for the preseason. Take a good hard look. These will probably change with our next week's show, I would have to guess. Basically because of a couple of matchups that we have this week, which we can now go ahead and talk about. So here are the 6 week 1 matchups. As you can see, week 1 map, circuit breaker. You can go ahead and look at the win percentages there. Not that those are relevant because we're all garbage at this game. So there it is, the very first match of the week, Zelly versus Albert Whiskers. So we'll go ahead and get that Attack on Titan wall off rematch right off the bat. Are you guys ready for this?
Not really.
Okay. Nick, how are you feeling about this?
I don't know. I guess I feel confident. I'm not sure. I'm sure what I did last time won't work. So
I feel like I don't like, I guess I feel confident. It seems like kind of contradict each other.
well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think I'll probably lose, honestly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really
and
glad.
then I'll probably realize I have to practice, and then
I think we're already setting up in the future where you'll realize you have to practice. Can't you just practice now?
yeah, I guess. If I have the time.
You just seem very aware of this awakening happening.
Well, I still don't know if I have to practice, honestly. If I lose, then I know.
Well, I don't want this discussion to take over this. All right, let's.
No, I do think this though. I think like because of my RTS experience and everything, I think like technically I'm like pretty well technically. It's just game knowledge stuff, which I haven't been playing the game, but I've been reading a lot of stuff. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. And then, so Nick, your other matchup this week is against Albino Rhino. How are you feeling? You feeling pretty good about that one?
I'm terrified.
You're terrified. You have 2 ZVTs this week. Are you ready for the ZVT?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm terrified of Phil because I don't know what to expect. You know.
Your expectations should be pretty low. Don't expect too much.
Well, what happens if I beat Phil? And so this is an actual question. What happens if I beat Phil like I beat, Steven? Do you think Steven took it like really well and was like, okay, I have to.
Did you just say Steven took it? Did you say Steven took it really well?
After the first day or two, he's after we canceled this first season, I think, and then he realized he has to practice or whatever and figure that out. But I don't like if I do that to Phil, which I'm going to do to Phil, and it's gonna work. Like, do you think Phil's gonna want to play again?
I mean,
I'm gonna take Phil under my wing. That's
yeah,
what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, Phil's already expressed interest in practicing like before his matches this week. So I think
that's such a breath of fresh air.
I think that's probably the best. I definitely think Steven needs to help him with early game builds and walling, because Phil's other matchup this week is against Workaday Mango. So Workaday Mango, Rory, how are you feeling about your matchup against Phil this week?
Matchup against Phil. Well, I just had a matchup against Phil about a little over an hour ago, and that one went pretty well.
So you're expecting the same result? You're expecting the same result?
I am expecting the same result, barring him putting in, because like we said, he's a good RTS player. If he plays a couple games a day, like I said, none of us are that good. I have not been practicing since season 1. With that said, yeah, I'm pretty confident I'll win him, though.
Okay. And then, Steven, your other matchup is against Gazrit. So you've got 2 TVZs this week, which I know you're really, really looking forward to. Are you how you feeling about the matchup against Gary?
I feel confident with neither of them.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're
just because for some reason, and I've always felt this way, I've always felt like Garrett is in my head in StarCraft.
Interesting.
How many times do you play Garrett in StarCraft?
Well, StarCraft 2. He I don't know. I've obviously gotten better since then. But so I think it'll either come down to, honestly, it's like I can't say I think I'll win just because of the lack of practice. Just because it's like,
You don't think you'll win?
I mean, I think I'll win, but look what happened the last time I thought I'd win.
Well,
I feel like I'm the
walls
player
fell.
where it's
The walls fell on
one
Titan's
thing can
attack.
go wrong. I'm the player where one thing can go wrong, and then all of a sudden just I just suck at picking up the pieces.
I think if you get your sea legs under you and make it past the 3-minute mark, I mean it unironically. The PVTs we've had have been pretty.
Actually, now that I'm thinking back to the fact that I beat Garrett in that 3v3,
Yeah.
when never mind, I'll win.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
Give
then,
him his confidence, man.
so Garrett's other matchup this week is against me. I feel pretty good about the ZVZ. Like I said, that's my favorite, best matchup.
Best.
And I feel pretty good about that. So then that brings us to our 6th match, which we are calling our match of the week. We're going to have obviously one of these for all 6 weeks, but this week it is Workaday Mango versus Cronbomb. This is a rematch of one of our better matches from last season. So how are you? I'm feeling pretty good about this one, Rory. I've got a couple tricks up my sleeve for the PVZ that I'm looking forward to using against you. So.
Well, acceptance is one of the final steps. So I'm glad you got there. Yeah, I'm really, really not feeling confident. Got a bevy of things working against me. The first being my lack of practice. I'm not entirely rusty. I've been playing a lot of Resident, which is a game that's incredibly similar to StarCraft, so I'm assuming that'll kind of transfer over a little bit. What's not working against me is I won the first one 2-0.
Yep.
So that's
with an
never
asterisk. I just want to point out there with an asterisk.
Yeah, the faintest of asterisks. It's never a good record to stand on because you can only go down.
True. True.
What else? You guys rank me as number 1. It's also it can only go down.
Also true.
And I'm for any of our listeners. I'm assuming there's like 5 of us, and the listeners being ourselves.
Yep.
Rise of Nations is nothing like StarCraft, and I've not touched StarCraft, in 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm pretty sure you have, Connor. So
I played most recently I played was like a week ago, so I'm gonna need a couple of days to.
I was gonna say I am out of practice, and I feel like I need to do a little bit more research because I feel like my main strategy, and I've noticed it's for like it's for PvT and PvZ. I feel like I do the exact same thing. The way I like the game to go is the exact same. Any cursory look at the replays will reveal that.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry, I know how you like the game to go.
I don't know. I think Roy might take this one.
Ooh.
That's it. I think if Roy wins the first one, then it'll be a 2-0.
Ooh.
I think
it's a hot take.
You think I'm gonna go on tilt?
For sure.
All right. The only reason I went on tilt the last time we played is because my damn laptop died.
Yeah.
That was
I feel like if the game goes long, then Roy's gonna win.
I would probably agree with that.
Yeah. So I think if Roy won the first one, it would have been like a 40-minute game, and then you would have just been like, you would do something stupid the next game, and then just lose. So I think it could go either way. I think it depends how much Roy practices this week, but I think
it's true.
He will. I think
I'm also completely at the mercy of luck of the draw when it comes to practicing on rank, which I would assume is where the best practice would come from.
Yeah.
Just in terms of it, literally always happens. I always get these PvPs, and it's like I try and find the good, and that like they're not entirely useless in terms of me refining the way I use my units, but like in terms of game knowledge, they are effectively useless for me in this tournament.
Yeah, I felt that way. I've gotten a lot of TVTs.
Yeah, I guess you technically have Phil, and if you get serious about it, it gives TVT knowledge like a usefulness.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well I think that will just about wrap it up for the first episode of BSL Talk for Season 2. Do you guys have any last words you wanna leave the viewers / listeners with?
Real quick, what does Steven think? Who's gonna win? I don't think you ever said.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Steven, who's gonna win me and Roy's matchup?
I mean, I'm leaning towards Rory, but only like 55-45.
I mean, then that sounds like a 1-1 scenario.
It could be.
Man, you guys are giving some really, really hardcore analysis here. Yeah, I think this might happen. Maybe.
All right, you want the hardcore analysis?
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. I think that if Connor plays a vanilla 1.0 game, Rory's gonna win. I think Rory out macros Connor. I think Rory wins the battle just straight up. Connor needs more dynamic play to be able to beat Rory. Because it's Zerg versus Protoss, and
now see that was good analysis. I liked that.
there you go.
I think
Thank
it'll be
you.
cool either way, depending on when you play in the week and how much practice Roy gets. That's what I would think. But I think Roy will win 2-0.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. So, is that it? You guys have anything else to say? Thank you to Discord and Crystal Fieldhouse. for being our official, unofficial sponsors. Thanks to Albert Whiskers and Workaday Mango for being guests this week. I'm sure they'll be back on. I'm sure they'll just invite themselves back on at some point during the season.
You invited me.
I don't remember that, but thanks to everybody who watched. Don't forget to like, comment, and what's that last part, Nick?
Smash the motherfucking like button.
Yes, do that. Thanks, everybody.